Mr. Pop. Dark.
When the little birds are nesting, and I listen to them croon, there's two lonesome people in the whole wide world. That's me and the man in the moon.
We're here. Hey, Ron. Thanks for being here with the chat.
Once again, we've been summoned to the internet to talk about cards. We have no control.
Will we
over
ever
this. It
stop?
just
Who
happens.
knows?
Probably not.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Miskatonic Anniversary Radio, a podcast exploring fantasy flight games as the card game. I'm Dane.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Ben.
Thank you so much, everybody, again, for joining us today. Because today, we're going to be taking a look at the player cards in the newest Mythos pack, Devil Reef, or as they call it in Innsmouth, Satan's Shelf. 100%
Do they call
misinformation.
that in Innsmouth?
Can I just say, the titles of the Mythos packs have been an absolute 100% hit rate for the past like 2 cycles now.
It's true.
You go back to the early parts of the game. There's literally a pack called the Miskatonic Museum. Very boring, extremely boring. Like, I mean, fine pack or whatever, but like that doesn't get you. That doesn't get the people going, you know.
And now it's like
Devil
horror
Reef,
in high gear.
Horror in high gear. Yes, please. I would like some of
Starring
that,
Bruce
yeah.
Willis.
Like all the Dream Eater ones were so good that it started a 6-month-long investigation by Ben into whether maybe they were the names of albums that Matt Newman likes.
Oh, that's
and,
right.
Innsmouth, and all the Innsmouth ones, it's like you can smell the salty sea spray coming off of them. You know,
Yeah, it's true.
I love it. Yeah,
Even
into
if it has to be with... Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, that's not what we came here to talk about. Although I'm starting to wish that it was. Should we begin to talk about these new cards?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you last time, I haven't even really looked at these cards. I've seen them like kind of in pockets, like when they were revealed at first or whatever, and kind of seen like some of them. But I haven't seen them all in one jam together. So I'm excited to look at them
I've seen a few of them, but a lot of them I have not looked at yet. So
Hey,
cool. Alrighty, so the first card is a Guardian Asset, level 0, cost 2. It's Kenai, so this is a downgraded Kenai. It has a intellect icon and a combat icon on it. It's a talent. Fast trigger, spend 2 resources, you get +1 intellect till the end of the phase. Fast trigger, spend 2 resources, you get +1 combat till the end of the phase. So, unlike the original Kenai, it's not a permanent, but it's level 0. It costs you money to play it. And instead of, I think the original Kenai, you could spend 2 to boost one of their stats by 3 for the rest of the turn, right? Was that how it worked?
No, it's by 1. I think it's exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah, this is exactly the same, except it's not permanent.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not a permanent, and instead it costs money, but it doesn't cost XP. So
yeah.
What do you guys think about Kenai level 0? That's exactly kind of how I feel about it.
I don't know. It's all right.
So some of these, if you compare it to like the level 0 higher education, I think is pretty cool because that costs 0. But this, even though, I mean, just costing 2 is kind of a bummer. You know, like I don't really want to pay 2 for something that lets me pay more money to do things. You know?
It's funny because like Streetwise and higher education, both the ones that were like tabooed to all hell and probably definitely the best ones out of the cycle are also still the best ones, even downgraded, because they both cost 0. So like, and all the other ones, even Scrapper costs 2 to put out. So when you're looking at this card, you're looking at paying 2 in an action and then paying 2 to get 1 either intellect or combat. So that's like kind of like the first time you're activating it, you have to pay 4. I think
that in a deck that is going to have a lot of money, this might still be worth it.
Yeah.
So the issue is that Guardians historically do not have a lot of money. But if you're playing like a Tommy or Larry Anderson deck that does gain a lot of money, or even if you're playing maybe like kind of a weird Roland solo build where he plays a lot of the Seeker money cards or something, like it's not like I would never play this, but it wouldn't be high on my list if I was just making like a generic Guardian deck.
Would you take like one of these in Carolyn?
No.
Okay.
What?
Didn't even have to think about it. Nope.
What about for an off-class person that could take Guardian?
Because why do I need to boost combat as Carolyn? If I want to boost just intellect, I can get something else. I can get like level 0 higher ed or something to do that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I was thinking like maybe Skids could use it because he has money. Or is there another rogue that can grab Guardian cards that would maybe like benefit from spending a little bit of money to like be really good at intellect or fight?
I mean, like doesn't Skids maybe want to? It depends what kind of Skids you're making. He might want to boost his agility at least as much as his combat.
That's true. Jenny could take it as well.
I mean, again, I could imagine like a solo Larry Anderson deck or something maybe would want to play this. You know, like
the end of the phase is kind of nice. Just like 2 money, you know, like if you're going to be investigating 3 times, it's kind of like.
Well, but it's, I mean, yeah, but it's basically if you're going to spend an entire turn fighting, it's good. If you just need to hit something once, then it's not very good, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But it is. I mean, I guess you know you were talking about Skids. It does get more efficient if you're playing extra actions, right? So if you're playing, maybe if you're Larry Anderson, maybe you have Leo, maybe you have other things that get you more actions. It still wouldn't be high on my list. Like I don't think it's unplayable, but it wouldn't be like a generic good blue card.
Yeah, that point in chat bringing up that it's frustrating that it's not the whole round because we've recently had these cards like Survival Knife level 2 and Counterpunch that activate in the enemy phase or you know sometimes at different times so that it actually doesn't benefit you there.
Yeah. I wonder if they just have an internal rule. I wonder if they have like a rule for templating things that increases to stats are supposed to go away at the end of the phase just because they're hard to keep track of. Because I know there's rules in some other card games that are like, if anything is going to, like bonuses like that are not supposed to persist past the end of a phase unless they're like permanent counters or something. You know?
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next card.
Let's do it.
Next card is Radiant Smite. It's here. It's a level 1, 1 cost Guardian event. It has 1 will symbol and 1 combat symbol. It's a spell, a spirit, which means Calvin can play it, and blessed, which means Mateo can play it. Fight, you may use will instead of fight for this attack, or instead of combat for this attack. When you initiate this attack, search the Chaos bag for up to 3 blessed tokens and seal them here. For each blessed token sealed on Radiant Smite, you get +1 skill value and deal +1 damage for this attack. If this attack defeats the attacked enemy, return the sealed tokens to the token pool. Otherwise, release them. Sister Mary.
Seems like a contender for Ben's like theme Zoe decks. Because smiting is something that either does or tells you to do, right?
It is definitely goes into Zoe's theme decks, especially if she's using any other blessed token things. But no, Dane's right. Like Sister Mary or anybody that's like trying to dump blessed tokens into the bag for whatever reason, like this is our reason to use those tokens.
I just my reaction is like Sister Mary can use it. What about the good characters? Like that's
so. No. I mean, one thing to mention here is that we're going to be seeing a lot of these effects that pull chaos tokens from the bag. This one is inherently good because there's no chance, right? Like some cards will say like reveal how many ever tokens, and if you see any of these, then you get this additional effect or whatever. But this is just like you just search for 3, up to 3 anyway. So if you have 2, you can use it. If you have 5, you can use it, and you'll always get the maximum value that, like, you know, there's no variance there.
And the fact that you're releasing them if you miss, I mean, you're getting a big bonus on this, and presumably you're choosing the number of tokens so that this finishes off an enemy. So unless you miss, which you probably won't do unless you draw Tentacle, that you're going to get the tokens back.
Right. Yeah. And this is what 4 damage attack for 1 money.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit of setup with blessed tokens. But if you're using other stuff on the cycle to generate blessed tokens or your Sister Mary, then like the blessed token part's not really that big of a cost, I don't think. So
I do think it's a tough sell for Guardians like Mark or Roland or whatever that have like higher combat than Will, because you're kind of taking a hit and
you may.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that does kind of help.
You may.
Oh yeah.
I remember thinking it was weird that it's not just add your will to your combat, because there's a lot of those, and it's not like I think maybe they didn't want to do that and also give you bonuses from the blessed tokens, so maybe that's understandable.
Also, Mateo can use it, so it's like kind of overpowered.
Not quite, but I mean, Calvin is decent in Calvin, I guess, because he has access to the survivor card, which one of those survivor cards was like the good one for adding bless tokens. So
How are you? Calvin already has to put a million cards to specifically do Calvin content. How is he also going to fit a bunch of bless cards in his deck? Like two versatiles, I guess, is the answer. Maybe I don't know.
That's is that 2 coins in the jar? I don't know. So
this is an appropriate use for it. I'm making fun of it. I'm clowning on its ass.
I feel like every time I look at these new packs, I'm like, okay, there's got to be some good stuff for Sister Mary, and then there are some cards that she can use. But secretly, FFG is just like shoveling coal into this huge Calvin pile that's just like been going for like 3 sets now.
I think MJ like anything that has like something glowing on it, maybe, or anything you can justify as being a spirit. MJ's like, oh yeah, it's a spirit card.
I assume that Calvin is a real person who works at FFG, and they don't want to piss him off, so they have to give him a card in every pack. That's my assumption.
Maybe
but really though, setting aside for a moment Calvin nonsense, I think anybody that is mucking around with bless tokens to any extent is going to play this card.
Yeah,
it's a great payoff for
that. Consistent, very good payoff.
I mean, it is level 1, so that restricts a little bit who has access to it, but still. Wait, what? Does Mandy have access to Guardian as a subclass?
No,
Tony does though.
Tony does, yeah.
I don't know if Tony's doing stuff with bless stuff, but
he has He has everything except Mystic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess Marie can use this. Some mention in chat.
Gloria can.
I'm not even sure Mandy.
And Gloria. But
I don't think Mandy would even want this. She?
No, I was just trying to think of all the people who can use level 1 stuff. But
does Marie have like spells up to level 3 or something?
Yeah, so new actors.
Yeah, Marie could use it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people that can grab it still that might want to try it out. But yeah, seems pretty strong. Is the lady in the art here, was she on something else?
I was about to ask about that.
I feel like she looks familiar. I don't know if I've just seen the art before in a different Arkham game.
This is a real badass.
This is a real like Vampire Diaries ass, supernatural.
I was gonna say that.
Harry Potter ass kind of a aesthetic.
I mean, she's
here.
got like a smoking shotgun in one hand, and like a weird power gauntlet thing projecting a.
I mean, I'm not into it, but
yeah. I don't know. She looks very familiar. I didn't know if I couldn't place if I'd seen it somewhere, but maybe we'll find out someday.
Maybe an L or something coming down the pipe. Yeah, let's move on to the next card.
All right, so the next card is a secret card, the Truth Beckons. It is a level 0 cost 1 event with an intellect and agility icon on it. It's an insight. Play only if you are not engaged with an enemy. Move. Choose an unrevealed location. Move 1 location at a time along the shortest path towards that location until you enter that location. End this effect if you reveal a location, if an enemy engages you, or if your movement is blocked.
You guys ever see that movie Monster House?
That's exactly what I thought of when I saw this art. But I actually love this. It's pretty cool. It's like a perspective that I've always wanted.
It's really good art. I like it a lot. Honestly, this is the type of like framing that kind of sets the art in this game apart from something like Magic that has like much more kind of traditional like flying dragon facing the camera kind of art. This is the kind of perspective and stuff is like really good.
Oh my god, right in the chat. This is Daryl Simmons, isn't it? I'm so excited for Daryl.
Is it Daryl? Is he holding a camera?
I think so. I thought it was a suitcase, but maybe it is a camera.
It sounds like a suitcase to me, or a briefcase.
But he's got the hat though, right?
Yeah, but it's the 1920s. Everyone's
but almost all of them have that hat.
Yeah, come on.
This is like Shortcut on steroids, right? To some extent.
Well, okay, I'm glad you brought up Shortcut because that is the card we need to compare this to.
Yeah.
Well, Shortcut's been tabooed. I imagine
the level 0 one.
Oh, not Shortcut. Sorry,
you're talking about Pathfinder.
Right? Pathfinder. Yeah.
I was like, don't do this to me, Ben.
No, yeah, compared to Shortcut, that makes sense. Yeah, because Shortcut costs 0.
Because the thing is, if you get 1 movement out of this, this is useless. You're wasting a card and money to do something you could do just by moving, right?
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something about it. So you have to have an unrevealed location that is more than 1 movement away. And I would argue even if it's 2 movements away, it's basically worse than Shortcut, right? So it has to be like pretty far away. and there has to not be any other unrevealed locations between you and it or enemies.
Or enemies, yeah.
It's just a lot of conditions.
Well, if an enemy gauges you, it could be an aloof enemy, and you just kind of.
Yeah, that's fair.
It has a lot of conditions on it, but I think in Innsmouth, Innsmouth has all these humongous giant maps.
Yeah.
So I feel like
spoilers in too deep.
Yeah, well, all of them aren't all of them huge.
That has been a theme like so far. Honestly, like they should have tabooed Pathfinder up to like 8 XP because every Innsmouth scenario so far, you really want 2 Pathfinders or go home.
So that's why I was trying to think of a use for this in that game, because if you're playing multiplayer, maybe you split up and maybe you need to run across the map really quick. Then maybe this would help you like move 3 or 4 locations.
Yeah.
To me, this is like an adaptable target for specific scenarios if you can cheese it somehow. Other than that, I think I would just always rather have shortcut, because shortcut is free. You can use it pretty much any time, and it's always good. This is like occasionally a little bit better than shortcut, but shortcut is just always great.
Yeah, shortcut for some other people, and it's fast.
Exactly. So just play shortcut.
But like this is, I think, exactly what Dan said. Perfect adaptable target. If you know that you're going in, even if you're doing like blob or something, you might want to put this in because you just go very, very far.
It honestly would be pretty good. What was the first instance scenario called again?
At rock bottom, but it's not that.
the crusty crab
of despair, I think, right?
Mayhem and Bikini Bottom or something, I think.
Of despair. There we go. Thanks, Ron.
C Lab 2021, the adventure. But anyway, that first Innsmouth scenario, I think this actually would be pretty solid. So like, I don't know, maybe if you're playing Innsmouth, like start with one of these and then upgrade it, but and maybe adaptable it in for specific things.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's do it. So our other secret card. This is the one that I really wanted to try to get Ben to pronounce this, but it didn't work out. All right, so this is Gaze of Ouraxsh, I think. This is a Seeker event, level 2, cost 2, has a combat and agility icon. The art is freaking me the hell out. This lady is very messed up. It's a spell and cursed. It says reveal 7 random chaos tokens from the chaos bag. Deal a total of 1 damage plus 1 additional damage for each curse or autofail token revealed, divided as you choose among enemies at your location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. This is a weird one, right?
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I brought that up with Radiant Smite, just like pulling things from the bag, is because this is by far right. Because you're revealing 7, there's no guarantee that you're going to get any amount for that of anything that you need, right? Assuming that you have 10 curse tokens in the bag and a auto fail, and you've sealed a whole bunch of other tokens, maybe this would hit your location for 7 or 8 damage or whatever.
Okay, so suppose you're like near the beginning of a campaign, you haven't had like a bunch of squids dumped in there yet or whatever. Suppose you have 15 non-auto fail tokens, 1 auto fail, and a full 10 curse tokens and no bless tokens. So that's like optimistic, but not like incredibly optimistic. So there's like 26 tokens, and there's 11 of them that you hit with, right? So you could plot out like the average and the expected like number. I haven't done the math, and I could be totally wrong, but like I think most of the time you're probably gonna hit like a couple of them in that scenario.
Yeah, maybe like 3, 4.
I think you probably have good odds to hit 2 and decent odds to hit like 3. So you're gonna do like 4 damage, maybe more. But you're probably not going to do much more than that very often. And that's like if you have someone, it's also really dependent on your group, because if you have someone else in your group who's like, oh, look, bless token, that's worse, right?
Damn it, Sister Mary. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the variance that might make this less desirable for me anyway than like you're going to get those how many ever blessed tokens that you need or want from it. This question marks until you actually draw those cards from or the tokens from it rather.
I would play this. I've suggested, I don't know if this will ever happen, but I've suggested playing like a 3-player like curse team run through a scenario where it's like, I think it's like Amanda, some rogue, and like maybe a mystic, but you like Dexter maybe, but everyone plays Faustian Bargains, everyone plays the Stirring Up Trouble. You just play all the curse cards. You have tons of curses in the bag all the time. I think that would be kind of fun, and that sort of like kind of a theme campaign, I'd probably play this.
Yeah. If you're Trish or somebody,
But
You
but
can,
in just like an average kind of a deck, it's kind of unpredictable. Like, wouldn't you just most of the time be better off with something like Bloodright or I've got a plan. There's better options.
yeah, I mean, this is tantalizing because it's like, oh, I can do 8 damage with this, but the odds of that are kind of low.
that's a lot of damage.
Someone mentioned in chat, like, it can hit elite enemies, so you could use it on a boss. Like, you could pull it out on a boss and like hope you hit really high numbers on it. I guess if it's a spell, so like that means like Marie can take it, and I think Gloria maybe can take it. So maybe they could do some token manipulation with Mystic token manipulation as well to like up the odds of boosting the damage.
Paralagnus, yeah.
Paralag. I thought Gloria could take spells or something. Is that wrong? No.
Oh, can she? I thought
no.
she had the Guardian Rogue or Seeker 0 to 1 thing.
Oh, that's correct.
It's worth keeping in mind if they ever make like a short campaign or standalone where there's only like 8 tokens in the bag or something, like it's kind of like a weird wrinkle, then it would be interesting to come back and look at this. Or like I think if you look at the available sealing cards at the moment, you can't really seal that many tokens because there's like a finite number of cards and they each only seal like one thing.
Yeah.
But if there's some weird combo that can seal like half the bag at some point, then maybe this gets better, because it would be really fun to do that 8 damage.
Yeah.
I know there's like Mateo builds that people like to do that, like or maybe it's Jim, one of the two, that they can really take most of the tokens out of that bag if they use like all of the sealing cards. So maybe like if that person's on your team, you could combo that with this and be like, oh, there's just a couple tokens and all the curses in the bag. I don't know. Seems like
in that scenario, are you sealing some of the good tokens to make it more likely to draw curses? Just so you can play this.
What's the deck? The deck that seals the +1 or the Elder Sign.
I mean, I guess it's so you can play the new like spell assets that are way better if you draw curses. Like, I mean, let's come back and talk about this when we make the like all curses squad or something.
Oh, here we go.
Until then,
who would watch?
Until then, I would probably not recommend playing this. Time to move on, or let's do it.
So next one is Rogue card. We're into rogues. It's a rogue ally, Priest of Two Fates. This is a level 1 cost asset. Commits for 1 agility symbol. Ally blessed and cursed. Triggered ability: after Priest of Two Fates enters play, add 3 blessed tokens to the chaos bag, and then forced at the end of the upkeep phase, you must either add 1 cursed token to the chaos bag or discard Priest of Two Fates. Then he has 2 health, 2 sanity, and takes up your ally slot.
Hey, this actually kind of works great with that Larry build that Dan was suggesting for the spell card, because you play this, you get your 3 blessed tokens, then you play that spell for 4 damage, and you let this guy die. I think that's the guy die.
That's pretty good. Actually, I didn't think about that, because he could just play this guy for with his Larry ability,
right,
and then immediately Radiant Smite something.
There's just so many other allies that do way more than this one, though. I mean, I don't know. It just it is kind of a combo with Smite, but the thing that weirds me out is like, if you're trying to put curse tokens in the bag, it's sort of bad to put this guy down and first add 3 blessed tokens, so you're like making it less likely to draw curses.
Yeah.
But then also, if you want blessed tokens, then you have to play this guy and then kill him really fast, or you're going to get a bunch of curse tokens. So
maybe
it's like,
maybe you want both. I don't know. It's a rogue card.
Why would you want both? They mostly just cancel each other out, and then you're less likely to draw.
You want to increase the odds of getting the paradoxical Covenant to fire.
Oh, there you go. That's the reason we.
Okay, now it all makes sense. Yeah, so your two faiths are actual religion and just weirdness, like nonsense, is the other one, I guess.
You're right. It's kind of weird. I feel like you need to. I could see it in Larry just because it's cheap, and if you want to like bless tokens to the bag, you want another ally for some reason.
Or Dexter.
Dexter. Oh yeah, Dexter. Because it's cost 1. Dexter, you can
slide it in for free.
Toss it out, and then trash it or whatever.
I mean, an ally that costs 1 that soaks like a non-trivial amount of damage in horror is pretty unusual. Like that's at least worth It's at least worth looking at. I just, it feels like the text on this is going to be like a negative at least as often as it's a positive, maybe. But
Yeah, you could Dexter him
don't know.
out and then like use him to soak an AOO or something when you play like an actual card you need or something. I don't know.
And the thing is,
Move or-
Dexter already has like Arcane Initiate is already like a way better 1-cost ally to do that for Dexter, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Dexter likes to have stuff like he's gonna trash Arcane Initiative eventually, so maybe he'll want something else to put out. I don't know.
What about calling in favors, right? If you're a Larry, you play this guy at the beginning and get 3, kill something, calling in favors, pull it back to your hand, play it again, get 6 bless tokens.
Why do you want bless tokens as Larry again?
Because I
So-
don't know. Maybe he's
Okay,
Christian.
okay,
Maybe
so-
Larry's an old Christian man and wants.
That is not the vibe. Not the vibe that I get from Larry Anderson. But
I mean, we're definitely gonna get a blessed shotgun, right? Like we're all very confident. It was pictured in the Radiant Smite actually. The
Blester bust.
The
Bless. The
Right.
the
Wonder bless.
where it does, it does it
bazooka. I'm already trying to come up with names for it. We don't even know if it
like
exists.
I am very confident we're gonna get some type of guardian weapon that shoots and does a bunch of extra damage based on how many blessed tokens you draw or something.
Just like pin up the enemy on a dartboard and just throw bless tokens at it.
So like maybe Larry would want that for that reason. I don't know. The art on this is
Let's,
like a very detailed art. Is this like an actual person that works at FFG or something? 'Cause that's usually the case when it's like this detailed.
I was gonna say that's sometimes the case.
I think it must be.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like oh man, who's that one actor who's like in a bunch of random stuff?
Oh, the guy in Death Stranding.
Which
Norman
guy?
Reedus? I don't think so.
No,
Yes.
not Norman Reedus. The ink from Eyes, Mikhail. No, I can't think of his name. I'll think. Somebody in chat. Think of it. I can't think of his name.
We'll come back to it. For now, let's move on to the next card.
Alright, so the next card is another rogue card called Under Surveillance. It is a cost 3 level 1 event with an intellect and agility icon on it. It is a tactic and a trap. Attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Forced, after a non-elite enemy enters attached location, discard Under Surveillance, automatically evade that enemy and discover 1 clue at attached location. That enemy does not ready during the next upkeep phase. I forget is there someone that uses traps? Is that it? Or I'm not remembering.
Chuck Fergus is Chuck Fergus tactics and tricks.
He is tactics. You're right. Oh, a Chuck card. Cool. No, this card's pretty cool. This is people were speculating from the beginning of this card that there's going to be parallel Wendy that's like home and she's got to like do things with traps and like murder things with traps. And I think that's great. But I also enjoy this card. There's like this kind of makes you into a temporary Trish. Like it's like three resources, trap a location, and do a Trish thing, right?
I mean, Trish can also use it and trigger her ability off of it, right? Because she discovers a clue, she can trigger, and there's an enemy there.
Yeah.
So she can use it to remotely discover 2 clues later when an enemy goes into the location or something.
Yeah, that's true.
You'd have to have a pretty good idea that there's going to be enemies spawning specifically at this location, which like some scenarios you'll be able to do that. Others you'll just be have this card in hand and it costs too much money.
Yeah, like scenarios where there's maybe hunter enemies that don't spawn on you. Maybe that could be good for. Maybe good in Forgotten Age, possibly. Like if you're running away from all the snakes, you like leave this and keep running or something. It's not fast, which is kind of lame. I guess with Chuck you can make it fast, but
I wish this was cost 0 because this would be a fun adaptable target. But at level 1 you can't adaptable it, so it's kind of I don't know. I would normally say like 3 is just way too much, and this needs to be cheaper for it to be worth it. There are, like Preston is kind of an exception to that, so maybe. And also, I think if you're doing the Chuck Fergus deck, then this is pretty fun. Apart from that, I don't know, kind of a tough sell.
Yeah, it costs 1 and it's fast with Chuck. That's great.
Yeah,
sign me up.
Yeah.
I mean, it is because you just need you need to have a location that you're going to leave a clue on that you also are pretty sure an enemy is going to be passing through. It's worth mentioning that so a non-elite enemy enters that location. If the enemy spawns there, they do enter it, right? So it would trigger them. And an aloof enemy also would trigger this, right?
Right. Yeah, just any non-elite enemy.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, in Innsmouth, I don't know if anybody else is scarred by Deep One, but it's definitely a thing that you're going to be dodging,
Yeah,
and then it's going to make its way to you after you're killing its
and
babies. So
and there are some scenarios where you basically like kite a big monster around. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like the Pallid Mask or like a Phantom of Truth. Both kind of do that.
Mhm.
They're one version of Phantom of Truth anyway. So again, that's why I wish it was level 0 because it'd be a fun adaptable target for those scenarios.
Well, in those
Yeah.
ones, isn't he elite though? Like, he
Oh,
has
yeah,
a big.
yeah, that's a good.
But there's
point.
also like conglomeration of spheres and Apex Stranglevine. Like these are just really beefy enemies that are really annoying to deal with, that you'd rather just kind of leave behind anyway. So
Strangleline has XP on it though.
that's true. Gotta murder that.
I mean, this does do a lot testisly if you can set it up, because it double evades and gets you a clue. So I think it's just depends on the scenario. If it's like a scenario where there's a high confidence that you'll get an enemy you can trigger this on.
Yeah, it might be really good in expert for that reason. Or if you're playing like a character that's bad at everything, like Lola or whatever.
Well,
or like
you mentioned Preston, right? He can take this, right?
Yeah,
he
can take this.
He is rich and bad at everything.
So like
yeah.
this is like seems like it could be a good Preston card, because he could just play it, and then when an enemy on his location, and then when he draws an enemy, he'll hey, I discovered a clue and evaded something. It's like, great, you were useful, Preston.
Yeah, I think in Preston or in like Chuck Fergus deck, I think it's worth looking at. Outside of that, not so sure, but maybe. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the next card.
Let's do it. The next card is downgraded Blood Pact. It's a mystic asset, level 0, cost 2, has a willpower icon and a combat icon. It's a spell and a pact. Fast trigger, add 1 doom to Blood Pact. You get +2 will for the skill test, limit once per test. Fast trigger, add 1 doom to Blood Pact. You get +2 combat for the skill test, limit once per test. Man, it's a bummer this costs 2.
Yeah, so I guess the good part about it is that you don't have to pay any more to, right? Like aside from all the other ones you have to pay money for. This is the only one that you put Doom on, which is definitely paying for it in some capacity. But the only reason why I'm excited for this is because I can play this in Marie deck at some point, which I just played a Marie deck, by the way, and it did. I tried very hard to enjoy the experience, but 5 trauma and getting mauled by 6 enemies at the end of Time and Space wasn't great.
Were you doing a solo Murray or something? Oh, I don't know. How'd you get 5 trauma? Never mind, not important. I'm excited for this in Dexter, because it's another dumb card I can use to swap in for a little while, stack a bunch of Doom on it, and then get rid of it. Because it's very fun to load a bunch of Doom. The thing is, though, Dexter's already kind of pretty all set with his willpower. At least in the deck I'm playing with him, I feel like I'm usually pretty comfortable with it. But I'm also like playing a lot of the spells that give boosted willpower as well. So maybe if you're playing a deck where you're trying to fight with him in some capacity, or not use the spell assets, but you want to use like events or something, then...
No, but I mean, imagine on hard mode, one of the scenarios where the skull gets down to like a -8 or something.
Yeah, it's true. Our first playthrough's on standard, so playing on hard or expert, maybe this will be better.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is really cool in Dexter that you can basically use it for a turn and just like blast the heck out of it, and then install over it at the end. Like that's pretty cool.
That's pretty nice.
And Dexter can afford the 2 because he plays like Faustian Bargain and whatnot, and he saves money on stuff. Like he's one of the richer mystics.
I mean, when he swaps it, he'll like swap it in the turn ahead of time he wants to use it on, and it'll cost 1, and then and he does have access. Someone ran in chat mentioned that he could play guns or whatnot from Rogue if he wanted to try to make use of the fight. Do some weird jank with that, but
it's just as much fun as it would be to use this with Dexter. You just have to consider it against other things like, okay, so this is going to give you 1 turn where you get +2 will to all your tests. But what if instead of this you just played like a Holy Rosary or a purple tarot card or a Spirit of Them even or something, right? Like there's a lot of other things that might give you a similar benefit that would be like less awkward.
Yeah, I wish it cost like 1, just because then it would work way better. Because one cost stuff for Dexter is great because like, oh, this is free.
It's kind of cool for Dexter because he can adapt while you're not really necessarily looking for adaptable. for something like the Essex County Express, where every agenda has like 3 Doom on it, you can use it on the turn that the Doom would go anyway, and then use it the next turn and then kill it or something like that. You know, like you can use it technically for 2 turns, like in a row.
Yeah, that's true. If you
you're
taunt
playing
with
it
the
on
witching
counters.
hour.
Yeah. It's also and yeah, we there's also like there's other ways to get rid of this besides Dexter. That's obviously the biggest one, but there's like Sacrifice. Not really. I don't think there's enough cards to build a deck around that, but maybe this is like starting to get there. You know, like if we get a couple of other cards that behave like Sacrifice, maybe eventually you could have kind of like a deck where you play a lot of cheap cards and then sacrifice them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But
Right now, Marie's kind of stuck, I think.
With Dexter Marie, I think I definitely consider putting this in. Others, it's a little bit harder to sell just because they have to also add more stuff to do dude management, which it takes up deck slots.
Moonlight Ritual, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't really want to play that just for one card.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one.
So next card is Abyssal Tome. So this is a new Mystic asset, level 2. Costs 2 resources to play. It commits for 1 intellect and 1 combat. It's an item at its home. Action: exhaust Abyssal Tome. Fight. You may use either intellect or will for this attack instead of combat. When you initiate this attack, you may place 1 Doom Tome to a maximum of 3. You get +1 skill value and deal 1 damage for this attack for each Doom on Abyssal Tome. I didn't read this card. Oh god. So wait, does this mean you may place 1 Doom on Abyssal Tome? So you can just place 3 on it right away? Or does that say like at any given time you can only have 3 on it? You can't have like a tower of 12 tokens on it. Not
right. You can put them on 1 at a time up to 3. So you have to build it up.
And then once it already has 3 on it, you can continue to use it with 3 Doom on it, right?
Yeah.
But you probably can't sustain it for that long.
You probably, I was going to say, like
I mean, there's agendas that have like 12 plus 2 per player Doom thresholds. You know, it's rare, but there are some.
Mage has a couple of those, yeah.
I
want to like it. That's a lot of damage that you can do with it potentially.
If you're in a center that has a long Doom threshold or long agendas, so you can get this down early and then have it be doing 4 damage every time you use it for a couple rounds. That's pretty good. It exhausts.
Just play Jesus, just play Shriveling, okay? Like, or there's like 3 Shrivelings now. You can play 6 copies of Shriveling basically. You don't need this.
I mean, it does let you use your intellect instead of willpower, so maybe for an off class that has higher intellect than willpower, they could maybe want to use it.
I've got a plan, you know, like
at the Gates of Sleep, isn't the agenda threshold like 20 or something? You could technically play this. Like the first thing. That's funny.
Yeah, I guess Ron Chat mentioned you could just ramp up it to be +2 damage, so you could keep it around a little bit longer. That's probably good enough because a lot of enemies have 3 health.
Yeah, I mean the big boon of this too is that you can either like so if you're Daisy, you can use your intellect. If you're a Mystic, you could use your will. I don't know why you'd ever want to use your combat, but you can.
Yeah, I guess it has a lot of versatility there. It's just because it exhausts, it means you can't use it to like blow up a big enemy and
that's because
or ramp it up quickly. I guess they wanted to exhaust it so you couldn't just ramp up to 3 right away. I don't know.
And because that would be the fun thing about it, right? It would be another Dexter Doom thing for like you have this out, you don't use it, then one turn you use it 3 times and totally crunch something, and then at the end of your turn you turn it into a cigarette case or whatever. You know, like that would be great. That'd be too great. They won't let us do it. So
this combo with this combo with the what's the card they tabooed? That's really good. I put in Luke decks. That's fast and lets you use tomes.
Knowledge of Power.
I guess from hand it's not good, but like if it's on the board, maybe
It's from hand. You on it if it's in your hand.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. It's just 1 damage. Great.
Let's focus on what's really important about this card: the artwork. Like, look at those fish.
Those are some.
So this is like a normal kind of looking fish. Then there's a not so normal looking kind of fish behind it.
It's like the fish tank from hell or whatever. Like
it's very spooky.
David Cronenberg's fish tank or something. Like, yeah, seems gross.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
It's yeah. I guess maybe Marie could use it as another Doom target, but let's move on to the Survivor cards. So here we have Butterfly Effect. We previewed this on our last live stream.
Hooray!
Let me go ahead and read it. So it is a level 1 Survivor card, cost 0. It's an event. It has 1 wild icon on it. It is a Paradox, Blessed, and Cursed. Fast. Play when a chaos token with a symbol is revealed during a skill test at your location. Before resolving its effects, you or the performing investigator may either commit a card to the skill test or return a card they committed to the skill test or to this test to their hand. So when we talked about this last week or whenever we did the preview stream, I think we were a little stumped by this. I think, because it feel like there wasn't too many options on like how to utilize it. Great. There's a couple cards that there's one in particular that I forgot about, where it's like if you draw a blessed token, you can, and you commit the skill card, you automatically succeed or something.
Oh, Beloved, is that it?
Yeah. But even then, it's like if you draw a blessed token, you're probably going to succeed anyway. So
The thing, I mean, I think this is just not a great card, but like even apart from other stuff about it, just the fact that you can only play it when a chaos token with a symbol is revealed.
Yeah.
So if you have the case where you like commit a courage or something and then you draw a 0 and you didn't need the courage, you can't even use this to like rescue the courage or something. I mean, not that even that is a great use for this card, but it just seems like the requiring a symbol thing just makes it even harder to use and it already was pretty hard to use with any kind of effectiveness.
Yeah. It's tough because it has, so comparing it to Silas's ability, that's the negative, right? That's the stricture. The positive is that instead of it just being Silas where he can only pull something back, you can actually commit something to the skill test. So you can play it to put something underneath the skill test and save yourself from failing or something like that. But it's so limited anyway.
That just makes it like a worse lucky, basically, right? It's like a lucky that costs you 2 cards.
Yeah, and you can only play it with a symbol on it. I mean, it is true. Kraken in the chat saying you could technically use it with like
take
cards, so you actually fail.
Because I mean, yeah, but I mean, like the symbol thing again. If you draw like the -5, if you were like, okay, I pass on everything except -5 and tentacles, and you draw the -5, great, you can't use this.
I mean, would you think about it? Would you think about it in hard mode where as like skulls go down to -8s or whatever? I don't know, so that you don't have to commit as high.
There's also a -6 in the bag. You know, you can't. This doesn't do anything with that.
Yeah.
But if you seal the -6, then yeah. Obviously the art is great. I really can't think of a scenario where I'd ever play this.
Good old Adam S. Doyle. Yeah, it's a little tough.
Yeah, blessed and cursed tokens are symbols, so if you've ramped up a bunch of them, then you have a higher chance of drawing a symbol. But
yeah,
even then, I don't know. We might maybe if we see some more cards like Beloved, like Defiance or something, there it's like a trigger off of a symbol.
Well, and I think, but the timing is really bad though, because it's when a chaos token with a symbol is revealed during a skill test at your location before resolving its effects. So suppose you committed something, you drew a blessed token. Okay, before you now draw the next token that the blessed token makes you draw, you have to decide whether to use this. So you could be like, oh, I'm probably going to pass, so I'll take back the thing I committed. But then you could still draw tentacles or something, right? Like you would almost want to save this until like the very end.
Yeah, it's tricky timing. If we get cards that like trigger off of symbols that stop you from drawing, like Beloved, I think you stop drawing when you're like, oh, if you reveal a blessed token, I think you don't resolve and you just automatically pass.
Yeah, there are the covenants too. If you use them in the covenant. Because the red covenant, I think, is the one where if you can exhaust it to immediately stop. Like you just don't draw any more tokens after that one. So you could use it with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. Yeah. So maybe we'll see more stuff that like we'll combo with in a cool way. But right now it's kind of I think so. Let's look at the next card.
On to the next one. Okay, we have a survivor. We have a survivor event called Third Time's a Charm. Why a charm? I thought it was the charm. Whatever.
No, it's just a charm.
Okay, all right. So this is a level 2 event, cost 1. It has a willpower icon, a combat icon, an agility icon. It is a spirit. Yes, whatever. Calvin. No, it's level 2. So
It's already a survivor card.
yeah. Fast play when a skill test at your location begins. Twice during this test, when an investigator reveals a chaos token, they may cancel it, return it to the chaos bag, and reveal a new chaos token. So it's like you get to be Wendy twice, kind of.
Yep, that's basically what I saw. I was like, oh, double Wendy.
Weird. But anybody at your location can use it. That's pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
Twice during this test.
So, but you have to play it when the skill test begins, which means this is you're basically committing to use it at the same time as you would commit like a skill card, right?
Yeah.
So like
unlike Wendy's ability, which is reactive,
or lucky even, which is also reactive, right?
Yeah.
Because what I'm thinking is like, so this is definitely going to help you pass tests, but is this better at helping you pass tests than say a Rise to the Occasion, Unexpected Courage, just a generic like skill card that gives you a couple icons? And the answer is maybe.
Right? Yeah, I guess like what's the chance that you draw 3 auto fails in a row compared to at some point, right? Like that's kind of
I mean, especially like when the distribution in the bag is very sort of like bimodal, when you have like a handful of tokens where you definitely fail and getting like +2 doesn't help, and then a handful of tokens where you succeed and you're fine, then this is better than like committing something, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But you can also just play Wendy. Like it's a level 2 survivor card. If you're not playing Wendy, why are you not just playing Wendy? You know?
I mean, it's definitely one of those things that enables cool, right? Like for a rogue who wants to succeed by a bunch, you might want, if somebody plays this on you, that's cool. Then you might have way more of a chance to get like the +1 or the blessed into +1 that you need. But I don't really see anything wrong with it. It's cheap. It's fast. It helps you through one test.
It also what I kind of like about it is, so it's kind of like a Dark Prophecy type card in that it helps you maybe find specific tokens. But unlike Dark Prophecy, which is just kind of bad, I feel like this like helps you pass a generic test that you want to pass, or it helps you like definitely find a blessed token if you're doing some kind of thing where you really need to find blessed tokens.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing like if you're playing like blessed token Tommy or something. I don't know, that sounds crazy, but if you did, I mean, you know, good.
Yeah, I can see that.
Digging for Blessed or Curse might be an okay, or even just trying to dig for a symbol.
It's just awkward that I don't think any of the characters that we usually talk about the blessed token archetype being in can use this.
Well, Yorick and Tommy, for what, like, I feel like the best blessed access is right now Survivor and Guardian.
Yeah, but well, I mean, I'm kind of thinking about like Mateo and Sister Mary mostly for people that are going to care about blessed tokens.
I guess
Mateo, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, once we have the full cycle, I think any investigator could try to do blessed token stuff. It's just, it might not be as good as if, you know, like Mary might be doing it. But so if you're doing stuff with blessed tokens, or your team is doing stuff with blessed tokens, you can put this to other people.
But you need to not just be putting blessed tokens in the back to help you succeed, which is a bad idea anyway.
Right.
I think you need like having specific cards that are like, if you draw a blessed token, this awesome thing happens.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you could like play this on your Guardian that is trying to use what is it?
Blessed Cannon.
Blessed Cannon. Yeah, the future Blessed Cannon or whatever.
Which may not even exist. We don't know yet.
Bazooka.
I'll be astonished if we don't get one, which it probably means we won't. We'll probably get like an umbrella or something, a blessed umbrella.
That's this card, the umbrella. She's holding it.
Oh, she is. This is some weird Cthulhu art, by the way. I don't know what's going on.
That's the first thing I noticed.
This is you got to stare at this one for a while. Yeah, you got to stare into the abyss here a little bit.
I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, want to move on to the last card?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still staring at that art. The last card is a neutral card. It is 2 neutral event. Costs 1 to play. It commits for 1 wild symbol. It is a spell, which is kind of important for some people. Reveal tokens from the Chaos bag until you reveal a cursed, auto fail, blessed, or Elder Sign token. If you revealed a cursed or auto fail, you deal 2 damage to an enemy at your location. If a blessed or Elder Sign token is revealed, heal 2 damage from an investigator or ally asset at your location, and it does not provoke tax opportunity.
Great art.
Yeah, I mean, this whole pack is a pretty. This one specifically, that I love the little threads. So this, I mean, all this reveal stuff makes me think of Jackie, because I feel like she might benefit the most from these somehow, or like be able to use these the best somehow, because she's definitely the person to go for token manipulation. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, this one you just keep revealing until you get one. So Jackie, I'm not sure would actually
That's true. That's
be
true.
desirable there, but
The manipulation would come in where you're trying to hit one or the other.
yeah. But
Yeah.
this was weird. I guess this, because it's neutral, you can like stick it in whatever deck. Like maybe you're doing a cursed focus deck and you want another way to do a little bit of damage, testlessly or something, or a way to heal. I don't know. It's level 2 though.
So yeah, that's the thing, is I feel like the healing side of it is less generally useful. Like in certain campaigns where there's a lot of damage, maybe that's kind of useful. If you have an ally like Beat Cop that you want to heal, it's better. If you're Mark, then it's better. But if you're a Guardian, which the Beat Cop or Mark scenario, you just have access to things like Emergency Aid that are kind of just better for healing, right?
Yeah.
And then the damage side of it, okay, testless damage. The thing that's awkward about it is this provokes AOs.
No, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
It says,
it says at the very bottom. Got it. Well, that's some weird text justification there. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I guess that's. But even then, I don't know. It's like modal stuff is usually good. Like if you had a card that was just either heal 2 or deal 2 damage, that would be like, oh, that's cool because you can do 2 things with it. But this is like, even if you have some kind of manipulation to help you swing the odds towards the one that you want, it's still kind of unpredictable. Like you might have an enemy on you, like, great, I'm going to do 2 damage to it. Oh wait, I found a bless token and I don't have any damage on me, but great, I just healed no damage.
Yeah, I think you want to play it like with somebody who you know would have both damage on you and could also maybe deal some damage. Like, because Mark can quickly dispatch things anyways. Like he doesn't.
That's the thing. Mark
does kind of benefit from both. But like maybe new Agnes, like Parallel Agnes, who takes a lot of damage to play events, she could take damage to play this, reduce the cost by 1, and then
it's also a spell.
It is, yeah. So her new signature draws her a card, or any of her regular signature draws her a card too when she plays it. But she'll, no matter what, take damage from this because she can shuffle it back in her deck, or if she chooses to shuffle it back in her deck anyway. And then it's kind of whatever. If you have damage on you, then you'll just heal that damage anyway, or you can deal damage if you find a cursed or hotel.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I would totally play 2 of these in Parallel Agnes.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat combo.
I'm not sure if I'd play them in any other deck, but yeah, Parallel Agnes I think is a cool use for this, actually.
Yeah, if it were the other way around, I might Blessed or Elder Sign then and deal 2 damage. I might consider it in Sister Mary because damage I feel like is a little bit more potent than healing is, because healing is more reactive and damage is more proactive, and that's kind of what she needs. But yeah,
it's also, I mean, so Sister Mary, there is that card that like turns all the curse tokens in the back into bless tokens for 1 turn, and then at the end turns them back or something.
That's true. Yeah, Tides of Fate, I think.
But that likely works in the wrong. I feel like way more often you're going to want this to deal damage.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And then the times that you're going to want it to heal, you're not in a great. If you get it to do damage, then it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
you know. But there are some other use cases for it, though, right? There are, since literally anybody. So if you're putting a ton of curse tokens in the bag, you might consider it too.
So in the chat, Lord Bapboy is asking, with all of some chaos bag luck, can both be resolved? And my take is probably no, because I think that when you like reveal a curse token and you have to like set it aside and draw another one, that only happens during a test, right? This is not a test. So like with this, if you keep drawing until you hit one of these tokens, once you draw a curse token, you're done, right?
Well, no, but if Olive can reveal both a blessed and a curse at the same. Because I can do that, right?
Because Olive is reveal. pick 2 to resolve, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I'm reading the giant clarification FAQs on the All of Arkham page to see which one
That makes
applies.
sense. It's just, even if you do have a lot of blessed and curse tokens, it's still pretty rare that you're going to be able to get both from an olive. But yeah, it's kind of cool.
Or what if you reveal 2 curse tokens? Does that mean you can trigger the damage and do 4 damage with that?
I think it says if you revealed. So as long as you've revealed
okay.
one, you only do. But I'm glad you said that, because in a rogue deck with double and a lot of curse tokens, you might be able to have this resolved twice.
Is one of the covenants, like when you reveal a curse token, treated as a blessed token or something? Like, is there some way to do it that way? I don't know. I forget what all the covenants do.
I forgot what they all do. Yeah. Except for the Guardian one that was good. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's some wacky stuff you can do with it. It's a neutral card, so it's always like it's something I could throw into a deck if I need to expand on it. But
yeah, I think it's a fun parallel Agnes like signature card, and I'd probably stay away from it apart from that. But
all right.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
So we have one special, but we're done talking about cards. But there's one announcement we have to make, right?
Yeah. So that's all of the cards. What we did want to mention, though, is that we are taking part in this year's Blackest Friday. You all may know that Dan, especially, is a big fan of puzzles and riddles. So for this year, what we're going to be doing is asking you to submit an Arkham Horror card game riddle. So this should just be like kind of a smaller riddle that's basically just the solution of the riddle being a card from Arkham. So my example to you is dumb.
So just to clarify, puzzles and riddles, very different things, I would say. I like puzzles. Riddles, fine. I'm very, very excited for Paul Dano as the Riddler in the new Batman movie. That's going to be exciting. But,
Wow.
No, but so by riddle you mean like a short, text sentence, a couple sentences or something, which hints at the name of a card, and the reader has to try to figure out what card it is, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we're going to be raffling off rewards to the best entries. An example of one might be if Bill Nye became a robot, but with a twist that Camus and Sartre would be proud of. That's my riddle. I don't know if ever decipher that in any possible way.
If Bill Nye was what? You cut out there.
If Bill Nye became a rapper, but with a twist Camus and Sartre would be proud of.
David Renfield?
Sartre? No. I thought of this and I was like, maybe this is just way...
I think David Renfield has the special property that he's the answer to all of these riddles. That's what I think. But
I was gonna come up with an example riddle, but I took a nap. And let Dean do it. So
Camus and Sartre are existentialists. Bill Nye's a science guy. What do those have in common? They're also both French. I don't know.
So, deny
existence.
There we go.
That's like a cryptic crossword, because you're doing a thing with like phonetically Bill Nye's name in one of them, and then you're
throw it in the trash, and listeners come up with a better.
Please do better than that, listeners. Please,
setting the bar very low, Dane.
Prizes this year will include a copy of Gloria Goldberg novel Dark Revelation, a Stella Investigator Starter Pack, alongside one copy of the Innsmouth Conspiracy and the Into Deep Mythos Pack to jumpstart your Innsmouth experience. So you could play straight through scenarios with Gloria and Stella just by making a cool riddle. And all entries, as long as you send us anything that's mildly cool, we will receive a copy of our custom pro. Because honestly, I don't think anybody say I don't need more.
Our custom charisma promo, which is super cool. So we're always happy to give more of those out.
Yeah, and check up on our blog post for this episode at MUR.com for the full list of prizes, because we are throwing in a couple of
Because Dane keeps coming out, I'm just going to clarify that the URL is mur.fm.
Yes.
And we'll put up the full rules and how to submit and all that, so you don't have to just listen to the podcast over and over again to figure that out.
Yes.
So
anyways, with all that said, how does everybody feel about this pack? Is anybody else hoping to see anything specific later in the cycle, like the Blessed Bazooka? Let us know your thoughts. Reach out to us on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, wherever you guys listen to podcasts, or email us at comments@MUR.fm. If you'd like to help support the cast, consider donating to our Patreon. Otherwise, thanks everybody for listening. Stay safe, and we will catch you next time.